Our next speaker is Nana Isi Idun, Arkhurst, who's the Divisional Director of Retail and Business Banking at Fidelity Bank Ghana Limited. She handles strategy to address the financial needs of diverse client profiles within the segment. She has led the transformation of the business into a dominant one, meeting customers' needs through solid value propositions, innovative products, and excellent relationship management. Help me welcome Nana Isi Idun.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. All right, first of all, let me say a big thank you to Millicent for giving me the opportunity to mount this platform to share with you a few thoughts and nuggets and from my own experience of how to achieve career success. Idun has really made my work very easy, so hopefully we can build on the points she put on the table, and then also I can leave you with a few things. I realized that apart from the students, we also have quite a number of entrepreneurs in the house, which is great. So I'll start off by having us agree on some definitions. So there are two key words in my topic, which is career and success. How many of us sitting here, particularly the students, are very clear on what we want to do after school? Hands up, show by hand. Confidently, show. I can count any. Does it mean all of us sitting here are not sure about what we want to do after school? So you are sure about what you want to do after school. How many of us were sure about what we wanted to do with our lives, and that informed what we chose to study for a degree? Okay, quite a number. And are we still on that path? Are we still sure that is what we want to do? Okay, so as you heard from my profile, I studied engineering for my first degree. But here I am today talking to you, not as an engineer, in the sense of the word, but as a banker. Right? I've always admired people who right from bed. There are people who, even when they are 5, you ask them what do you want to be in future, they'll tell you, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and that's it. That's all they will pursue, and they will consistently follow that path until they are grown. But for many of us, that is not the case. So I want to assure you, if you're here today and you still do not know for sure, with a certain level of certainty, exactly what you want to do after school, that there's hope for you and all is not lost. So what do you think a career is? How would you define a career? Anybody wants to take a shot? Career. When we say career, you can just throw some words on me. When we say career, what do we mean? Anybody wants to?
Longevity.
Sorry? Longevity. Great, longevity. Something you do for a living, great. Longevity, you do for a living. Purpose.
Job. Job path.
Sorry?
Job.
Job path. Okay, so job path. Great. So we are all very much on point. So a career, and I like this definition, it says a combination of roles, experiences, education, and pathways you take to achieve your goals, to achieve your purpose. And success for me is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So there has to be a purpose or aim before we can define success. Success is not a one-size-fits-all, right? So a career is not a job. Building a career is not just about finishing school, getting a job, and earning money. That's not how you build a career. It's the sum total of all the experiences, everything you bring to the table. That helps you fulfill your purpose in life is a career. So when Edwina was talking about volunteering and internships, that's an area that we all need to take very seriously, because especially in our part of the world where opportunities are sometimes limited and you don't always get what you want, it is important that you keep an open mind and put yourself out there. Sometimes you even know what is out there. And later on, we will go through an exercise where we get to determine how best we can determine what our purpose is and fulfill it. Because there are a lot of people who have jobs, who are earning money, who are not necessarily happy. Right? And she was talking about someone who said, I want to be a banker, and went in there and saw what it takes to be a banker and said, this is not for me. But the point is, at least you've experienced it. You've built a skill. No skill is useless. And often I find that university graduates get caught into that whole, I studied psychology, so I have to be a psychologist. I studied law, so I necessarily have to be a lawyer. But maybe that path to psychology or law was not really determined by your passion or your purpose. You happened to fall into it, or there was a cut-off point, and as a result of that, you found yourself being offered a program which you necessarily did not choose, or which was not your preferred option. But I always say, no knowledge is useless and no experience is useless. So at any point in time, it's about finding use for what you have and making the most of what you have. So you may have studied engineering, you may have studied chemistry, you may have studied computer science, you finished your national service, nothing has come up yet, you're at home waiting. The best you can do for yourself is to find a use for your skills and also find an avenue to add on new skills. And I'll tell you this story. So I was looking for honey to buy, and then someone shared a contact with me. And this was a lady who had finished her first degree in her national service, didn't have a job yet, so she was selling honey and Percocet juice from CSIR to make ends meet while she went to school again to pursue a master's degree. This is someone who hadn't done marketing or hadn't done anything, but this was what she was doing to get some extra pocket money on the side. Now, she came to me, and for those who know me, I'm not a very easy person like that to convince. So I bought my honey, and she was trying to convince me to buy the Percocet juice, that it was good, it's healthy, blah, blah, and all that. But the way this lady went about it, I work in a bank, and we're always trying to find people to sell, and we teach them selling skills, how to pitch your product from the customer's needs, how to position it, how to manage objections. And this lady was methodically just blowing everything. So I asked her, what are your plans after school? I was like, oh, I want to try and finish it, then later I'll find what to do. So I told her, when you're done, just call me and give me your CV. I'll make sure you find a job. Because she had mastered the selling skills. In today's world, it's not about your degree. Your degree just gives you an avenue to build the relevant skills and competencies, to apply yourself to learning. So I urge all of us to move away from just saying, I got a first class in this area, or I got the highest GPA, to I can do this. I can talk to people, I can convince people, I can use my technical skills to solve a problem. When the previous speakers were talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about applying yourself, your ideas, your skills to solve a problem. And it's the same, even in the corporate world. As you go up the career ladder, your soft skills becomes equally important, if not more important than your technical skills. Because this is the time you have to lead people. This is the time you have to influence people. You have to motivate people to align to the goals of the objectives of the department and achieve it. So guess what? If you are the most brilliant person who can work equations and crack it, but you can't engage people, you can't speak to them to convince them to buy into your idea, why we should do it this way and not that way, why we should use this method, You can't go up. You be the best technical person, but that's it. Your career is not going anywhere. So that's the first point. And for those of us who also think that once we leave the four walls of the university, that's it, we finish learning. And the course was so difficult, so tough. I can't wait to finish, and once I'm done with that is it. Well, sorry to burst your bubble. The learning intensifies even more when you live here. When you leave university, that's the time you even learn the most. And you even learn in an unstructured environment. Nobody's going to tell you this is the syllabus. And we'll do topic A this week and topic B this week, and you have an IA to test whether you understand it and move on. It doesn't happen that way. So you have to continuously learn, continuously be curious, to ask questions, to find people who have walked the path that you are interested in walking, and ask the right questions to learn from their experiences. And once you have that, then it's easier for you to build on that and then make progress. Another thing is that careers are not linear. It's not straightforward that you move from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. So someone started as a bank teller and became MD, so mine will also be the same. No. Do you get it? So you should keep an open mind and not say that, as for me, I'm an engineer and that's it. She's an engineer, yes, but she's applying her engineering knowledge and principles to HR. And guess what? I bet you she'll be a better HR, or she must be a better HR manager in that engineering company than someone who's coming at it purely with an HR background. So don't get too caught up in your area of study and let that limit you to what opportunities there are. Careers are also very dynamic. Gone are the days when, so my mother used to work in a bank, although she wasn't a banker, so she's a caterer and she used to work in the food and beverage department. And I remember when I was changing jobs, changing institutions, like, oh no, why are you leaving? These people are treating you so well, everything is going fine. You have to wait and wait till you go on pension. That was our mother's times, our parents' times. You stay in one organization and you wait till you go on pension. But the times have changed. Now, even if you don't decide to move, the organization is resizing. Right? The strategy has changed. They are moving from they're closing one side of one division of the business, and your job is no longer available. So then what do? Do you go and sit at home and fold your arms? And this is where maybe you learned how to sew, and you can sew clothes. You get it going, and you can go back to that organization where you're working, and you have ready customers already. You have a network of people you can tap into. You can use some of the skills, the management skills you learned on the job to push this business. You may decide to go back into formal employment, or your business takes off and is doing so well that you even don't have need to go back. So careers are very dynamic. Now you have lawyers who are interior designers and do that on the side. You have doctors who are sewing clothes, who are doing catering at the weekends, who are doing events planning. So there is so much you can do in terms of bringing everything God has endowed you with to the table. It's not just about the knowledge and the degree you have, but the passion you have, what you're good at, is also something that you can build on and make it marketable and get people to pay for it. Your career is also unique to you. It's unique to you. Because at the end of the day, you are the center of it. And you bring everything you are to your career. So we may all start together as entry-level, say, marketing executives. But maybe my mother has a shop at Rollins Park, or she's selling cloth, And growing up, I had a chance to go there and sit at the shop and see how people come in and go out and see how she balances at the end of the day and all that. I need to bring that experience to the table, to my career. And that would differentiate me from someone who just came to University of Ghana and did marketing in the School of Admin. Because I have first-hand experience. Maybe I've volunteered or done internship in another organization, which was completely different from marketing. Maybe I was in the accounting department or the HR department. But I've experienced something that I can bring to this marketing opportunity in terms of how I engage people, how I manage people when they're upset, how I even organize myself to go out to market, or how I present my cases or my reports. So everything that you have, you need to bring it to the table. In addition to all the things you heard today about applying yourself, being disciplined, having passion, all of that. So you make your career, you determine. And unfortunately, I do find a lot of young people at work, some will say, I've been in this role for 10 years, and I've not been promoted, and you have to promote me because I've been here longest than everybody. But unfortunately, the world now will not reward you because you are the longest serving. The world will reward you because you have something to offer that is of value, and people are prepared to pay. They can testify that what you're delivering or what you're offering is value. So you need to own your space. You need to determine what you want to achieve out of your career. And through curiosity, through constant learning, through applying yourself, the discipline, then you can make that progress. So next, let's move to success. And I like this definition of success. I think I need some help here because the slides are not moving. On the laptop, but it's not moving yet. Okay. So it says, success isn't measured by money or power or social rank. Success is measured by your discipline and inner peace. So what I consider success may not be success for you. I remember when I was leaving Standard Chartered for Fidelity, and everybody was like, oh, but why would you leave a multinational bank and go to a local bank? And my role in Standard Chartered was a regional role when I was leaving. So it meant a lot of travel. Every month, 3 weeks out of 4, I'm outside Ghana. Like, oh, but you're flying business class and you're here and there, why are you leaving? But really, that was the reason why I was leaving. Because at that time, I had very young kids. And for me, success at that time meant that I had to be there for my kids growing up. So I needed a platform that allowed me the chance to be more present than I was. So to the untrained eye, looking from outside, looking in, it's like, she must be crazy. Why is she even making this decision? So just to let you know that you should not define success by what your friends think or by what society thinks. Because at the end of the day, it's about you and your inner peace. Like I said, there are a lot of people walking around making a lot of money or in so-called prestige jobs within, but are very unhappy because maybe they don't have their time to do anything else. I was very intrigued when I spoke to a coconut seller, and I do that a lot. Anytime I'm buying cocoa, watch, or whatever, I engage the entrepreneurs, and they are entrepreneurs, to find out how business is, how much money they make, and all of that. And you'd be amazed to hear that the average coconut seller makes more money than an entry-level bank worker at the end of the month. But you see the guy in his worn-out t-shirt and slippers, dirty hands with a machete, cracking coconuts, and you're feeling sorry and pity for him. You know the people who sell fruits? they virtually double their money. Those who sell the oranges and the mango and pineapple, on a daily basis, they almost double their money. So you calculate if that lady is making 150 cedis or 200 cedis every day, and calculate it. So you define what your aim and purpose is at any particular point in time. And once you achieve it, that's a success for you. And it's dynamic, right? It doesn't stay the same. At some point, maybe your focus is to make money, and that is fine, because maybe it's a difficult background you've come from, you are the eldest child, you need to make money and help support your siblings to be taking care of through school. So I'm interested in making money. And that is fine if you find the opportunity. But just know that that may not necessarily be enough to build a successful, sustainable career. So that if you focus, I'm taking the job now because this job will give you money, it's paying more. You should understand, one, your reason and why you're taking it, what the limitations are, and what you need to do within a certain time frame to bring you back to your plan. Otherwise, you get carried away because this is paying money. You stay there, maybe it doesn't offer you development opportunities to build yourself up, but because the money is good, I'm comfortable, I'm staying there. And then 5 years down the line, you see your other colleagues who may not have had that opportunity or taking your opportunity because of money, but sought for opportunities that will give them self-development, time to build on their skills and do more. And they will be commanding, at that time, they'll be commanding more value than you because you haven't added anything to yourself. You've just been focusing on the money. But maybe at that point in time, you truly, really needed to be earning well, and that is fine. So you need to have that self-awareness at any point in time to say, what am I looking for? What is my goal? What is my aim? What is my purpose? And then you work towards it. So now that we've defined career and we've defined success, I want to quickly use this Japanese concept, which is called Ikigai, to help us build a framework for what to look out for. So there are So there are 4 key areas that Ikigai wants us to look at. Now, for those of us who are lucky to find something that addresses all 4 areas, we are considered very lucky and very fortunate. So the first one is what you love, which is ingrained, inbuilt, sometimes by nature, what you're born with, based on your personality and all of that. So what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what people are prepared to pay for. If you find something that combines all these 4, you're in heaven. It's something you love, it's something you're good at, it's something the world needs, and it's something that people are prepared to pay for. Then you're in heaven. Now, what you're good at, if you find something that you're good at and something that you also love, that is defined as your passion. So you're good at it and you love it. It's your passion. You are good at it. It's what you can be paid for it. That's your profession. You may not necessarily love it, but you're good at it, and you get paid for it. That's your profession. Now, when it's something the world needs, and you can be paid for it, it's your vocation or your calling. You may not necessarily be good at it. You have to go through training to become good at it. It doesn't come naturally. But it's something the world needs, and it's something you can be paid for. That's your vocation or your calling. And if it's something that you love, and something the world needs, then it's your mission. So very few people find one thing that covers all four. At some point in time, you may be moving from one side to the other, but it's all fine. You need to know which point you are at a particular point in time, and then also know what it offers you, and move towards what you really, really want. So for those who determine right from an early stage that I want to be a doctor, and a doctor, like say medical or suicide, and they went through it and get there and they're happy with what they're doing, they're getting paid, they are going in every day saving lives and seeing the impact they are making, that's great. But not all of us will find it that way. So just know that at any point in time, when you are doing what you love and it's what the world needs, you might be very happy and fulfilled, but that may not necessarily bring you wealth. So situations where you are volunteering, for example, it's something you're passionate about. A lady came up to me and said she's passionate about pregnant women. She wants to make sure she's a midwife, and she wants to make sure she can reach out to pregnant women and get as many of them educated as much as possible. She's passionate about that. It's something the world needs. So if she decides to go that way, it may not necessarily be the highest paying job. It may not necessarily be the job that will make her a millionaire. But she's happy. She's fulfilled. So if that's what she wants, then it's success. She may not drive the latest car, but she's happy and fulfilled and she's successful. So there's no way comparing to someone whose ambition is that I want to drive a brand new Range Rover, because you cannot do what she's doing and be able to afford a brand new Range Rover. You get it? And then when you're doing what the world needs and what you can be paid for, it's exciting, right? You are making money, you are seeing the value come through, but sometimes it can also be uncertain, especially when you are not the best at it and you don't have all the skills that are required. So then you know that if I want to really get to the top most level of this career and get that satisfaction, then I need to continuously keep upgrading. And there are careers like that. I have friends who are doctors who decide to specialize, and every so often they are going back to school. There's something else. I have friends who are pilots, and every 6 months you have to go and recertify. So if you're the type who thinks that I just want to finish my degree and that's it, I don't want to sit in any classroom again, then you know that certain spaces may not be right for you. And then when you have the intersection of your profession and your vocation, that's you're doing something that's really paying, you're good at it, the world is prepared to pay for it, you could be feeling comfortable but empty. And there are a lot of people like that. So they're in jobs, at the end of the month, they get a fat check compared to their friends and colleagues. But they're not happy because they're not getting the opportunity to spend time with family. In fact, even the money they're making, they're not getting the chance to spend it and enjoy it. By 4:35, they have to set off. They're coming, typical bank, they're coming back at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., you're tired. Even the food doesn't even taste nice. You can decide to buy pizza every day, but it doesn't even taste nice for you. That's what we're talking about. But sometimes it's also a means to an end. So I know someone who was so big on kids, loved kids, wanted to start a school, but she decided, okay, I don't want to be a teacher, but I want to own a school. So I'll go and work in a bank. Relatively, I'll make a lot more, but I know that I'll give myself 5 years. After 5 years, I'm going out, and my father has this old house. I'm converting it to a creche, and I'm going to live my dream. And she did exactly that. And today when you see her, she's very happy. So again, it's about knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and knowing at what point in time where exactly you are. Then the last bit is where you're following your passion, you're good at it, but it's not really something the world needs, maybe at that particular point in time. So there's a lot of stories about, for example, in the US, you know, first degree education in the US is very expensive. Depending on the type of school you go to, you could be paying about $50,000 a year. And often for most Americans, if they don't do community college and they want to do private school, the big ones that we know from here, they have to take out student loans. And those student loans can take a long time to pay. In fact, even when President Barack Obama became president, he had just about finished paying off his student loans for law school. So there's this article I read about someone who had taken out loans to go and do acting and theater at Yale, and had racked up loans of almost $200,000. And he was talking about how, and he finished during COVID. So around that time, who's casting films, so nobody's doing anything. And so he found himself actually trying to do gigs on the streets. And if you travel, you know there are these people, streets artists who come in. He had to find himself doing that, even to find something to sustain him on an ongoing basis. So this is someone who went to school to fulfill his passion, was passionate about acting, and went to acting and theater school, paid so much money. But unfortunately, was feeling quite useless because at that time, there was nobody demanding his skills. But then he said, every day he comes from the street performance, he at least has some satisfaction that he's put a smile on people's faces, or he's made people aware about his talent. So hopefully that's not permanent for him, it's a phase, and you'll be able to overcome that phase. So you could find yourself at any point in time operating through any of these cycles. But it's very important that you know where you are, you keep track of where you're going, what you really, really want, and hopefully you can find that one thing that you're very good at, that you love, that someone is prepared to pay for, and is really something that the world needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.